I just got back from the most magical trip to the Algarve region of Portugal, which is down in the south coast. It's famous for its beautiful beaches and coastal cliff views, which are just breathtaking. I'm sure you've probably all seen the most famous photo of the Algarve region, the Point of Mercy rock formations in Lagos. So it's definitely a must-see spot on any Algarve itinerary. And most people, when planning an Algarve itinerary, opt to rent a car, but I'm not a huge fan of renting a car if I don't absolutely have to. So I'm here to give you a 5-day Algarve, Portugal itinerary without renting a car, which makes things a lot cheaper. So days 1 through 3 are going to be spent in Lagos. So if you haven't seen last week's video of the ultimate guide to Lagos, Portugal, make sure to check that out because I go into detail about the weather, planning your visit, average costs, where to book your hotel, and so much more. It's really helpful as you're going through the planning stages of your trip. And before I dive into this day-by-day itinerary, let me just preface this section by saying Lagos is the epitome of completely relaxing and not having a bunch of things to do. That's the draw and the beauty of it. Some places you need to have an itinerary and make sure you don't miss something. Like if you have 3 days in London, you want to make sure you're taking advantage of every single second and seeing as much as you possibly can because there's just so much to see in London. But in Lagos, it's all about relaxing. It's all about enjoying the views, the weather. Now let's break down what to do day by day with this in mind. On day 1, you'll be focusing on the downtown. Walk around, explore the souvenir shops, restaurants. While you're here, make sure to check out these spots on the map. Porta de Portugal Street, Gil Innes Plaza, my personal favorite because of this stunning green tiled building, Luis de Camões Plaza, and the waterfront Infante Dom Enrique Plaza. This is really an area where you can just get lost down all the little alleyways in the best ways and discover so many cute hidden gems. I absolutely loved walking around the downtown here. Also be sure to check out the Mercado, which is open between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. every day except Sunday. I had read a ton of blogs recommending to eat at the rooftop restaurant there, and I gotta be honest, I was not impressed. It was my least favorite meal during my 3 days in Lagos. So I'd say not to waste your time eating there as there are tons of better food options in the downtown, but it is worth checking out the Mercado. And right next to the Mercado is a small bakery. I'd definitely pop in there and grab a pastel de nata, my favorite Portuguese snack, for only $1.50. Next, you'll head to Lagos Fortress, which is completely free to enter. They just ask you what country you're from so they can put it in their records. It's pretty small, but there is a room on the ground floor filled with the most gorgeous tiles. I absolutely loved it, and I thought it was really cool to get on top of the fortress and walk around and see all the ocean views. Right across the road is the Lagos Castle and City Walls. There isn't too much to do here, but it definitely is a cool photo op. And then right across from there is Student Beach with this stunning arched bridge built into the rock. It is a pretty small beach, so I can imagine in the summer it gets extremely crowded. We were there at the end of April and there really wasn't anyone in Lagos at all. All the beaches were pretty empty, so I thought it was perfect. But if you can find a spot during whatever time you are visiting, definitely plop down on the beach and enjoy the views for a little bit. For dinner, I highly recommend eating at Mar, which overlooks Student Beach. I'm not a huge foodie, but this definitely was one of the best meals I've ever had in my entire life. We got the Portuguese steak, shrimp skewers and sweet and sour sauce, and salmon over an asparagus risotto, and it was just phenomenal. Not to mention the views you have while you're eating, so you're getting to see Student Beach from a different viewpoint. It was just so magical. I highly recommend it to finish off your first day in Algarve, Portugal. To start off day 2 in Lagos, you'll head to the marina for breakfast or brunch, however early you're starting your day. To get here, walk along the water right next to the downtown where the Mercado is, and there are some little pop-up canopies selling some souvenirs all along the water. So walk through this little market, if you can call it that, along the river, and slowly make your way to this bridge. Then you're gonna go ahead and cross it, and you'll see a row of restaurants lining the marina. So walk up and down them and see what menu looks the best to you. When you're finished, stay at the marina and book a boat tour. Each company pretty much offers the exact same tours. There's the 4-hour grotto and cave tour with lunch, 2-hour grotto tour, 1 hour and 15-minute grotto tour. There are some kayak tours and dolphin watching tours. I don't recommend doing the 4-hour tour because on day 4 you're actually going to be moving from Lagos to Carvoeiro and doing a cave tour there, so you don't want to do the caves twice. I personally think the grotto tour is a must. That's why you're in Algarve, to check out these incredible rock formations. The 2-hour tour is $29.50 and the 1 hour and 15-minute tour is $22.50. We opted to go with a company called Bom Dia and do the shorter tour, and it was so incredible. One of the highlights from this trip for sure. First off, we ended up getting a private tour because no one else signed up, which was an amazing surprise. And another surprise was that I just figured we'd be boating along the coast just to kind of see the rock formations from the water. I didn't realize the boat would actually be going under the arches and into the caves and stuff, so it was super cool. And huge props to the boat drivers navigating those choppy waves in and out of those small spaces. After the boat tour drops you back off in the marina, walk to Benagil Beach. Now, this beach access was closed when we were there in late April 2024, and there was a huge sign saying that you would get fined if you went down onto the beach. It didn't say when it would reopen again, but even if it is closed, it's still a beautiful beach to see from up above on the boardwalk that looks over the cliffs. And if it happens to be open when you go, of course, pop down and take a stroll on the sand. Once you're ready, continue along the boardwalk to Dona Beach. There's an amazing viewpoint that allows you to see Dona on one side and all of the layers of rocks and cliffs extending into the distance on the other side. Makes for a stunning video, as you can see on the screen. So take some photos and videos up there first, and then head down to the sand and plop down on Dona Beach to relax. There is a restaurant on the sand here, which is pretty cool, serving some seafood options, burgers, snacks, and drinks. So just keep that in mind for dinner, or once you're ready, head back up to the boardwalk to the downtown to grab dinner. Day 3 is your last day in Lagos, and it will be your chillest day. Start off breakfast in downtown. A little side note that I didn't mention before, the Portuguese culture is a very late culture. We were walking around the downtown at 9:30 a.m. and we were literally the only people there. Like, most of the shops were closed. So keep that in mind when venturing out for breakfast. Around 10:30 in the morning is probably the earliest I would do that. I'd recommend a place called Nina's. It was super cute to sit out on the cobblestone street and get the brunch platter for 15 euros, which had a little bit of everything, as you can see here in this photo. Once you're full, you're going to do the full boardwalk cliff walk from Dona to Ponta da Piedade, or Point of Mercy in English. This was another major highlight of the trip for me. The walk is absolutely stunning with so many little viewpoint platforms here, so really take your time. There is no rush. Go out on every platform, take your photos, sit on a bench, soak in the views before moving on to the next one. The full walk is only 3 kilometers, so it really doesn't take that long. And since it's all just a boardwalk, it's not, you know, cliffs or rock, you can wear your sandals and it's not strenuous at all. It starts at Dona, which is the beach you went to on day 2. Next, you'll pass Camel Beach, which is also closed just like Benagil Beach, so hopefully that will be open for you when you get to Lagos. But again, it is still really nice to see from above. It's called Camel Beach because one of the rock formations looks like a camel. And the end point is the Point of Mercy, which is the iconic photo of the tip of this little peninsula-ish thing that is Lagos. So you'll just see these stunning cliff edges jutting out all around you with massive rocks floating in the ocean. It's just genuinely so breathtaking. And in this area alone, there are several different viewing platforms. So again, go to all of them. You are able to get off the boardwalk and go a little bit closer to the edge. You'll see tons of people doing it, but of course, be careful. Don't do anything reckless for a photo or video. It's not worth it. My favorite spot of the trail was the second to last viewing platform in the Point of Mercy area, which is the only one that allows you to actually take the stairs down all the way to the water. There is no beach here, but as you're walking down, you get this stunning view of all these crazy cool rock formations surrounding you with arches, points, holes in the rocks, and form a little semicircle, kind of like a lagoon type cove thing around you. And it was absolutely stunning. My favorite viewpoint of the trip. Once you complete the trail, the rest of the day is yours to plop down on a new beach if Camel or Benagil is open for you, or back to your favorite beach you've already been to, or feel free to do some souvenir shopping or another boat tour like a dolphin watching excursion. It's really up to you and what you want your last day in Lagos to be. On day 4, you'll wake up and head to Carvoeiro, which is about a 30-minute drive towards Faro, which is where the airport is. We took an Uber and it was only 20 euros, and that's what I'd recommend doing as it's not very expensive. Once you arrive, you probably won't be able to check in yet, but you can at least drop off your bags and head out for the day. You'll notice right away a huge difference between Lagos and Carvoeiro. Lagos is very much like a touristy backpacker type vibe with historical charm, whereas Carvoeiro is is very much a resort city. It's smaller, it's nicer, and is very focused on families and older people, in my opinion. It's definitely not a party area, which was fine with me, but if that's your thing, just keep that in mind. We decided to stay in a resort while we were here, and it was so nice. Check out the tour of that in this video here. But what I will say is that I'd recommend you stay as close to Carvoeiro downtown as possible, because there is literally nothing outside of the downtown in regards to restaurants or shops. Like, it's just resort after resort after resort. So I wished we had stayed a little closer to town, as our resort was about a 20-minute walk. But anyways, check out the downtown, get your bearings, walk around, and find a place to eat. This place isn't technically in the downtown, but it is on the main road a few minutes outside of the town. It was actually on our way from our resort to the town. It was called Earth. The food was really good. It had ocean views, and it had a super cute shop with Portugal-made items like olive oils, sea salt, cork items, honey, and so much more. So I definitely recommend checking that out. Once you're done eating, I'd head to Carvoeiro Beach. Right in front of the sand are a few tourist stalls where you can book your cave boat tour. There's a 1-hour tour that goes to 10 caves, including the famous Benagil Cave, or there's a 1.5-hour tour that does all of the same plus Marina Beach. So we opted for that second option, which was 35 euros per person, which I personally thought was a little steep since the tour in Lagos was only 22 euros per person for nearly the same amount of time. But I do think regardless, you have to do it, because seeing all the different caves this area is famous for is absolutely amazing and pretty much the reason why you're there. And of course, as I mentioned, one of the last caves you visit is the Benagil Cave, which is one of the most iconic sights to see in all of the Algarve. The only bummer is that the picture that you always see of this cave is from the viewpoint of the sand looking out towards the water, so you see both of the arches and the hole from up above. But from the boat's viewpoint, you don't get to see that. You just get to see the hole from up above and the sand in front of you, which is still cool, but not as cool as the photos you always see. And I do recommend doing the longer tour to see Marina Beach, because it really was so beautiful and had a large rock in front of it that looked like an elephant drinking water. The boat tour will end back at Carvoeiro Beach, so hang out there for a while to end your day. And day 5, your last day in Algarve, Portugal. You'll start the day in downtown Carvoeiro for breakfast, then you'll head up the hill overlooking Carvoeiro Beach to get great views of the beach and buildings. It really is such a nice photo op from right here. Then you can continue on from here, and you'll start the 7 Hanging Valleys trail from Carvoeiro downtown to Marina. This one is a lot longer and more difficult than the boardwalk cliff walk you did in Lagos. From Carvoeiro Beach to Algarve Seco, it's relatively the same, a very easy boardwalk with some cool opportunities to get off the path and kind of explore the rock caves and crevices. From Algarve Seco, it gets a bit more difficult as there's no more boardwalk and just a dirt rocky path, so I'd recommend wearing proper shoes, not sandals, for this hike. And of course, you can do this walk for as long as you want. Some highlights along the way are the Vale de Centeanes beach, Benagil Cave from above, and Marina Beach. We opted to just stop at Vale de Centeanes beach, which was the closest beach to our resort anyways, and it was so stunning. We relaxed here for the day, which was a really great way to end the trip. There's also a restaurant on the sand here that serves some seafood options and snacks, and of course the views are incredible. So depending on what time your flight is, you'll need to work that into your schedule on this day. It's still an hour from here to the airport if you take an Uber, so make sure to take that into account, and it will cost you about 40 euros. The only other adjustment I'd make to this itinerary, depending on your interest, is if you really wanted to see the traditional Benagil Cave view that you would see in all of the photos, I would still do the cave boat tour on day 4, because I think it's awesome to see all of the different caves, but I would also add on a sunrise kayak tour to Benagil Cave on day 5, so you can kayak up to the island inside of the cave, get out on the sand, turn around, and actually see that view. So if you haven't already, make sure to check out the ultimate guide to Lagos, Portugal to help you plan your trip as best as you can.